Today's topic is place value. Common Core Standard MA 321A represent numbers in expanded and regrouped forms in the base 10 place value system. And also MA 221A represent 3-digit numbers as groups of hundreds, tens, ones in the base 10 place value system. You should have manipulative. You should have a few sets of 100 grids in your notebook from last class. You also should have your title, your learning goal, and your what I know already, right? As we start, we're going to look at an example number. We're going to say each digit in a number has a place value. And the value of a digit depends on its place or position in the number. So the value of a digit depends on its place within a number, right? So for example, let's take the number 32,476. Each digit in this number has a place value. So 6 is in my ones place. 7 is in my tens place. 4 is in my hundreds place. 2 is in my thousands. And 3 is in my 10,000s place. Okay? And as we're looking at that number, we can manipulate it. We can write it in many, many ways that represent its place value. So, for example, there are several types of forms that numbers can be written in. The first is standard form. The second is expanded form. And the third is in word form. Standard form of a number is just what you see when you write the number. 32,476. It's the most compact form of the number, and it's the most regularly used. For this example, let's use something a little larger. Let's use 732,481. When I'm looking at the expanded form of this number, I'm actually thinking of an addition problem, and I'm thinking of each place value being added together to represent this whole number. So in this number, 7 is in the 100,000th place. So I'm going to have to add 700,000 to my 3, which is in the 10,000th place, plus my 2, which is in the thousands place, plus my 4 from the hundreds place, my 8 from the tens place, and my 1 from the ones place. Note how I'm including the zeros for each digit so that it actually represents the value it holds in that place. Writing a number in word form takes a little practice and getting used to. You just have to remember that you're not including the word and. The word and is specifically used to hold the place of a decimal. So using the word and when you're pronouncing a number, it can be very confusing unless you're specifically mentioning a decimal point. So for this number, I want to write out 730 2,000 or thousands, comma, 481. Notice how I did not write 481 or 481. You must include every proper title for each place digit. 732,481 is your complete word form. Now I want to move on to decimal place value. We're just going to talk a little bit about decimal place value because we'll do a lot more about it next lecture. But decimals represent numbers that are parts of a whole, right? They're smaller than 1. So if I think about my square here, my 100s grid being one whole number, if I shade in my entire grid, and let's imagine that that's shaded very nicely, this is equal to one whole, right? Or one digit, one value. And that's written as 1.0 in decimal form. If I only shade in my first row, that's one row that I've shaded out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rows. I've shaded 1/10 of a whole, or 0.1. 1/10. Okay? If I shade one little bitty square, you've probably realized by now that there are 100 small squares in my grid. So I've shaded 1 out of 100, or 0.01, and that's called 1/100th. Now, I realize that this is all very new, but we will be talking much more about this next lecture. I just wanted to give you a little taste of what decimal place value would look like when you include it in overall place value conversations. So this is what your notebook page should look like on the right side. On the left side, please fill in your what I learned and also your proof. Express the value in expanded form and in word form. This is 47,983. It is not 47.983 or 47 and 983. So that is a whole number that is not a decimal when you're solving your proof problem for the day. Don't forget about your reflection. Be thoughtful, be creative, and I will see you next class.